Well, good afternoon and welcome to a very wet TIO Stadium for round 11 of the TIO NTFL Men's Premier League. The fourth place Darwin Buffaloes up against the second placed St Mary's. In the commentary box this afternoon, myself, Matt Hepworth, Andrew Hodges and Rob Cross. Rob, we might start with you. You managed to head down on the field a short time ago and there was a lot of water there.
Yeah, the rain stopped, what do you think, Matty, about half an hour or so ago,
Yeah.
but it rained for a good hour, and I reckon there's a centimetre or two just sitting surface water. The ground itself is very hard, but that rain on top will make things very, very slippery. Right in the middle, it's okay. The umpires are practising their bouncing. It's obviously a convex field, so that's a little bit higher up, but certainly on the wings and up forward, quite sloppy.
Hodgie, how do you think the rain's going to play out for these two teams today, or this wet weather that we've had?
I think it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, all week I've been looking forward to this. These two sides, no matter where they are on the ladder, always have a good game and the rivalry. So I think this is going to be a good game. Like you said, the ovals dried out pretty well, so we should see some high skills. Maybe a bit sloppy early on, but when the pressure's on. But looking forward to seeing Wade and these guys for St Mary's, and there's plenty of talent out there, ex-AFL as well. 21
mil of rain since 9 a.m. this morning, most of that falling within the last hour or so. So, yeah, it's certainly going to make for some slippery conditions as the umpire holds the ball up in the air with Rob Cross to take us away.
And good luck to Braith Hodges. Hodgie, son of. In the middle, lines up against the very experienced Ryan Smith, who won the tap down to Geary. A new player in his very first game of NTFL footy. Number 28 there, Rhett Jordan, comes from the Norwood Club in the Eastern Footy League in Melbourne. Ball out to the wing. Salmon laying a tackle. It's going to be pretty tight and tough early. Here is that player from the Norwood Footy Club in Jordan. Gave it off to Cheek. The kick comes up towards half forward. Leroy Larson gathered the ball and had it stripped away. Bowles loops a handball over to Nabi Kelly, who'll be very important in these conditions today. Very strong body play. Ryan Pendlebury goes to ground, the brother of Scott Pendlebury, Collingwood captain.
Interesting early on, guys, saying Buffalo's looking to use their handball in these wet conditions. You think it's one of those days where you just want to gain some meterage?
So Smith, bigger body than Lyons, pushes the lighter weight player out of the way. Salmon scooped it up pretty nicely, then throws it on the boot. Little short pass in towards the pocket. Jackson Calder is there, leading goal scorer for St Mary's with 15 so far this season. Some tough tackling. Thomas Flay involved, number 27 for Buffs. A free kick might have been picked out. It's going to go to Calder. So from the right forward pocket, first shot on goal for St Mary's.
He's kicked a few goals this year, has he?
Yeah, 15 to his name so far.
He's had a really good season so far, so he's going to be really important to Saints today. He's got to take, obviously, a wet day. Not many scoring opportunities are probably going to come about, so he's got to kick these ones to make sure they get Saints on the board.
25 metres out, very deliberate approach. And he kicks on goal as he squeezed it through just away to the right. First score of the afternoon at TIO Stadium. This round 11 match, the last round before Christmas in the TIO NTFL season for 1920. And St Mary's second on the ladder, a 1 behind 1 point. Buffaloes are fourth on the table, yet to score. Ball brought back into play. Bradley Stokes measures the kick to Stafford. Oh, pinpoint. Right on the line. Stafford grabbed that, I reckon. Former AFL player Sean Edwards standing the mark. Had time with Giants, Essendon, Swans briefly, up towards the wing. Neat little lunge from Michael Coombs, a former St Mary's player. You're going to gather it again. In here's Coombs, his brother Braxton Armat plays for St Mary's in the 21 jumper. Labastida, it went through Campbell's legs, the former North Melbourne player. Labastida pumps it back up towards the wing where Stafford takes it. Just bombs away straight down the throat of Tom Davies, who marks it centre half back. So I'm not sure Stafford would normally be floating across half forward, but he was the one delivering it in there. And it should be a free kick there. I thought the Buffaloes player was taken down to ground before he grabbed it. Cameron Stokes squeezes a little kick in. Too tall for Nabi Kelly. Neat sidestep, then the handball is slapped down. Kevin Moroney went without it, and there's going to be a free kick going the Buffaloes' way as Shannon Rioli tried to tow it through forward 50.
Just had to get it forward then, didn't he, guys? He quick inside 50 going to be gold today. They need it in nice and quick.
Jared Stokes back from suspension, handy in these wet conditions. And a lovely kick to Nabi Kelly in the middle of TIO Stadium. Shillaby missing a couple through umpire abuse, so he's a big out for the Buffaloes. Long kick inside 50. Stafford comes out, one grab, couldn't take the mark. Hacked kick by Parnell, who's on his way to Williamstown in January. Has another go at it. Or it won't be Tom Davies, in fact, this time it is Tom Davies. The handball there is smothered. Somehow it ricochets out to Cheek. And a little bit fortunate there. And a lovely wet mark taken by Edwards. Just had the flat palms and dropped it down to his chest to complete the grab. He played on quickly, moved it up in the direction of Jacob Long. And another kick finds the chest of Shannon Rioli. So moving it beautifully, St Mary's. That kick has fallen down, though, and should be a mark or free kick. I thought there's a front-on challenge to the Buffaloes player, not paid. Kevin Moroney comes through strongly for the Buffs, then slips over. You get a good indication of how wet this ground is. Lachlan McKenzie tries to sidestep, roll in, does it beautifully. Then another sidestep and gets around Rhett Jordan. Kicks to the wing in front, bowls, had it spoiled away. Ground level there was Seaton Kunoth. He couldn't control the footy. Sean Edwards will want it from Yaron, but Yaron picks it up and then gets dumped to the turf by McKenzie. From half-back, a bustling run by Bradley Stokes, and he pumps it back only as far as Tom Davies. Out comes Campbell. Does pretty well not to infringe. Geary gives it off to his teammate there in Labastida. His high kick towards the wing. Parnell has to wait. They come at him. What a gutsy mark. Courageous, and then he plays on quickly. Seaton Kunoff came hard at him. He bounced up and kicks it up towards half forward. Cameron Stokes uses the body on Leroy Larson pretty well. Lovely pick up by Jared White, the former Blue and Kangaroo. Squaring ball was almost brilliant to Geary, but Jared Stokes reached in at the last moment and tapped it away. He's got Miles sliding by. He can send it out towards the half-back flank, and the Buffs are away through Ryan Pendlebury. He kicks up towards the wing, out of side. It's close to the boundary line. Out comes Campbell. A clever tap on. Found his teammate there. In towards the forward pocket. Wants Stafford some holding going on, and it's going to be an advantage to St Mary's. What a hot start, Andrew Hodges.
Yeah, very good. Some very good skills early on by feet. Very interesting. St Mary's going short and maintaining possession of the ball. Buffs looking for that longer kick to space early on. Geary
even happy to try a bounce, looking for Baxter Slater close to the boundary line, out of side, out of bounds.
How good was that tap on from Matt Campbell? Very smart kick from Pendlebury out into space. Matt Campbell knew he was hot, and that's going to be an interesting matchup, actually. Just go back to that one. Labastida and Campbell, the two veterans, going to be a very good one there. But great skills, and Jalen Clark, just a good kick inside 50, but well done by Braxton Matt down back.
So 5 minutes gone first quarter. St Mary's the only score so far. It's behind. Big thump by Ryan Smith towards the boundary line. Here's Shannon Lang, an interesting player. Plays for Port Melbourne in the VFL. Made the VFL Team of the Year. His kick's not great. Straight down the throat of Tom Davies. He's also fourth in the Liston medal, which is for best and fairest in that competition, and second in Port Melbourne's best and fairest. Davies kicks it inside, attacking 50. Edged under the footy there was Calder. Buffaloes trying to take it away. A throw goes against Bradley Stokes. Advantage paid, and it goes across the face, out of bounds.
Disappointing in those conditions. You probably need to just go back, Jackson Kohler, and make sure that. You've seen Saints a couple of times, boys, early on. Davies intercept marks. It's very interesting. A lot of the Darwin Buffalo forwards getting caught up the ground, and the Saints defenders, we can see Parnell by himself at the moment, just sitting off, but he's getting picked up now by bowls.
Lachlan McKenzie will do the ruck work, I think, with Waite, although no one from the Buffaloes has put their hand up to take it, so Waite went alone in the end. There's the kick coming from Ryan Pendlebury, outside defensive 50, 3-on-1 battle. There's lots of yellow jumpers around this footy, and a lovely smother there by Kieran Campbell, I should say. Well, lovely handle by Williams. Gave it to Bowles in towards Campbell. Now, he normally loves these one-on-one up against Labastida. Taps it to his advantage. Will he soccer off the ground? He has another go and plays it beautifully. Labastida was always going to be in trouble against the experienced former AFL player. As good as Henry Labastida is, Campbell one-on-one, I reckon, would rarely be beaten, Andrew Hodges.
Yeah, rule number one as a defender, you don't want Matt Campbell getting goal-sidey, and that's exactly what happened. He just kept the ball in space, didn't take possession, just really smart. But this was really well done here. Buffs just pressure on, smother, just hunted in Pax Williams. Beautiful hand, so clean in these conditions. And Patrick Bowles and Matty Campbell played a lot of footy at North Adelaide together, so on the same page there, and this was just all class. Matt Campbell, he hasn't lost it. Labastida would have been a bit worried when he saw Matt get goal side of him. So, great score from Buffs and good pressure up the ground from their midfield.
So rarely falls over, does he? Slippery ground, bit of pressure from behind, just held his feet.
Very, very smart.
Smith and Miles. Miles might have won that tap. And again, a lovely handball from Williams. Back to Miles. The big ruckman thumps it in the direction there of Davies. Couldn't get his fist to it. Tyler Saunders is about to be wrapped up. He had a long go at trying to get rid of it. Oh, geez, lucky enough to be holding the ball, I reckon. Gave it to Davies. Kicks it outside defensive 50. Sean Edwards in front. Sean Armat there lays the tackle. That slipped off his hands. And another, well, playing the conditions perhaps. Couple of lucky opportunities don't go the Buffs' way. Cameron Stokes, wonderful one-handed pickup. Neat gather almost by Nabi Kelly. He's being hunted by a couple of St Mary's players. Leroy Larson, wonderful one-handed pickup. Gave to Shannon Rioli. Gave to Yaron on the left boot. Screws it inside attacking 50. It's a pretty good standard of footy given the conditions. Over the back here, an opportunity for the Saints to maybe score. Ishmael Palmer will see it through for a rush behind, which is a good result in the end for the Buffs. Buffs one straight, St Mary's two behinds.
Good scramble there by the Buffs defenders to kill that footy and get it through for a behind.
Cameron Stokes has been busy early. Oh, he's struggling here. Baxter Slater came in and laid the pressure, came back to Yaron, who's wrapped up in a very strong tackle, and he's pinged for holding the ball. Tough conditions to play an umpire, I guess, but didn't have a long time to get rid of it. Squeezed out to Sean Armat, who marks on his chest. So Armat, right half back, in front of the Morris Rioli grandstand. Neat kick to Nabi Kelly.
Had heaps of it early on, Rob. Has Narbs Kelly. He's looked like he's in good touch at the moment.
And he kicks long towards right half forward. Stafford in from the side. Another big man there, Miles, was clever. Gave to the running machine in Chris Williams. Here it is again, Labastida and Campbell. Labastida gets pushed off the footy. Well done by Campbell. He's going to get his second in about 2 minutes. Easy as you like. Good body strength, and poor Labastida there. In fact, it's Parnell who will pick himself up from the top of the goal square. But the body strength was wonderful by Campbell, and then gets up just to check that Kieran Parnell's okay. Campbell's on fire. The Buffs have 2 goals. They lead by 10 points.
Hodge, you touched on it before, but you can definitely see the difference in the strategy of these two teams playing at the moment. Buffs choosing that long down the line, really trying to stretch the ball out as much as they can, and it's working for them early on the scoreboard. But you can see with Saints, whenever they've got the ball, it's those short little handballs, and even when they're kicking it, though, it's short little chips. So really two different strategies, but on the scoreboard, 12-2 paying off for the Buffs right now.
Yeah, definitely one of those days you want to get some metre gainage and obviously get into one-on-one to smart players like Campbell and Bowles. You're going to kick a score, aren't you?
Smith got rid of Lyons, then really lay hand on the footy. Geary, cheek. Sockers off the ground, gains 30 metres towards right half forward. Buffs have the numbers there. Kick comes back towards the wing. Michael Coombs goes hard. Cheek coming the other way, just as tough. Off the ground goes Geary. Well done. Kick comes inside, attacking 50 over the back of the pack. Calder is there. Thomas Flay scoops it up, but kicks it straight down the throat of Waite. He wastes no time. Spears the ball in. On the bounce to Leroy Larson. Immediately Cameron Stokes lays a very strong tackle. Oh, Michael Coombs tried to squeeze a cheeky little kick rather than just thump it out of the danger zone. Jordan was in a bit of trouble. He wants Larson. Well done by Moroney, who missed it though. And a free kick's been paid. It's going back to about 40 metres out, where Jordan will take the free. And the infringer looks like it could have been Jalen Clark.
Just held on to him after that contest. Pretty bit lucky maybe, but obviously Saints have had a few inside 50s here and they haven't really got anything to show for it on the scoreboard. This is going to be very important, Rob Cross, for them to get themselves back closer to the Buffs.
First game of NTFL footy from 40 metres. Won't have the carry, just away to the right. And it's smashed through for another behind to the Saints. 3 behinds, 3 points. They trail by 9. The Buffs 2 straight 12. Both goals thanks to their coach, Matty Campbell.
Yeah, very smart player early on. It looks like that matchup's changed. Labastine has gone off him and Tyler Saunders has gone to Campbell now.
Out towards the half-back flank. Seaton Kunoth does well. Bounced off his teammate in the end there in Stafford, who goes to ground, tries to squeeze the handball out to Timmy Eldridge. Ryan Smith scooped it up. He goes off in the direction there of Braxton Armat. Anthony Long involved for St Mary's. Taken by Bowles. Standing the way on the wing was Smith. Dropped the mark. Somehow it gets squeezed out to Jackson Geary. His high kick back inside, attacking 50. Waite sitting under it, wanting the spillage. Immediately set upon by Cameron Stokes, and will have a ball up 30 metres out from Saints' goal at the Michael Long centre end.
Yeah, Saints, look, I've said it before, they're going to have to score from this opportunity. There's some very good players around the ball there for Buffs.
Flay and Calder up in ruck. McKenzie gets the tap on as far as Salmon. Seaton Kunoth lays a good tackle on Geary, who held strong, got his handball away to Larson, back to Yaron, who's been busy. Back there to Salmon. Salmon from 48 metres, set sail on goal in the square. Calder flies. Can he get up and take his shot? He can't. There's going to be a free kick, and it's going to the Buffaloes. Last line of defence. Bradley Stokes will come up with it. And he pokes a dangerous kick over the top there to Cameron Stokes.
Never in doubt.
And marks 30 metres out from the goal he's defending.
Very casual kick is Bradley Stokes. He's had a couple of good kicks early on, both. His technique's very, very casual.
Bowles mark, still inside defensive 50, but in control the Buffs. As Andrew Hodges said, lots of inside 50s for St Mary's, second on the ladder, but unable to capitalise. And on the slingshot, the Buffs have brought up 2 goals, and they can set up again from just defensive side of the wing with Michael Coombs. Very handy footballer. Keen to go well against his former team. Hits the chest beautifully of Chris Williams. He'll waste no time. Spins around. Wonderful smother, though, and sends the ball back towards the wing and Sean Armat. Overrunning the footy there was Lyons. Armat goes again. Tries to bury under that would-be tackler. Thomas Davies throws on the boot and hits the chest of Shannon Rioli. Well played in these conditions. Just hack it forward, gain 30 metres, and Shannon Rioli, one of the stars of the competition, captain of St Mary's, wants Jared Waite. He had Ryan Pendlebury for company, brother of Scott, Collingwood captain. Beautiful gather and sidestep by Jared Waite. Onto the left boot to Larson, but a brilliant spoil floating in from the side bowls. Only towed it as far as Salmon, who can line up for a shot on goal, runs around, throws it on the right boot, and misses to the right, out of bounds on the full.
Some real waste of opportunities here. But what is real evident, guys, is that the Buffs midfield's ability to get back and help out the defenders. We've seen Bowles go back a few times. A few other the midfielders have got back. Coombs has been back there as well. It's been outstanding.
Favouring the outer side for their attacking thrusts, the Buffs. Mackenzie there. Tom Davies has drifted up from centre half back for St Mary's. It goes out of bounds. Good
matchup, that one. Tom Davies and Ishmael Palmer. Ishmael Palmer, very talented player. Good mark of the footy. Tom Davies' ability to drop off him, though, and take intercept marks has been interesting early on. So maybe Ishmael Palmer's probably going to close that down. He's got himself up the ground a little bit higher this time.
Lines smashed away, though, by Ryan Smith inside attacking 50. Pendlebury went one-handed. Oh, brilliant by Salmon, off to Waite, but he couldn't control the footy. Salmon's shown wonderful skills in these wet conditions. Close to the boundary line. Cameron Stokes is there with Jared Waite, still in play with Shannon Rioli. And it's going to be out of bounds eventually. Right forward pocket for Saints.
Outstanding skills there, young Salmon. He's very, very quick player, very, very fit. Showed his skill there. A bit too slick for Jared Waite on that occasion. Could have been a certain goal.
Trying to work out who's going to contest this ruck. Leroy Larson's got his hand up for St Mary's. Again, I haven't seen anyone for Buffs. Maybe that's a tactic, Hodgie. Comes to Moroney. His high kick outside defensive 50. Lines and the much bigger Smith. Left it for Davies. Now, once again, Williams with a clever handball over the top into the path of Jared Stokes. He's got good pace. Out comes Stafford. He gathers in, wrapped up in a very strong tackle. Well done by Davies, holding the footy. Or was it Long? It's Anthony Long who laid that wonderful tackle.
Awesome to see him back out there, guys, after coming back from a few knee injuries. You can see it's heavily strapped there, but fantastic to see him back out on the ground.
Hard running Leroy Larson out towards the wing. Moroney goes to ground and Larson holds his feet, scoops it up and kicks it up towards half forward. In from the side there was Calder. Couldn't control the footy. Going off the ground was Bowles. Ricocheted off shins. Back inside attacking 50. Only momentarily. Out comes Lachlan McKenzie. He quickly throws it on the left boot. Well picked up by Jalen Clark. He thumps a lovely long ball onto the chest there of Stokes. And Jared Stokes marks 60 from goal at right half forward. Stafford trying to create a lead. He now breaks in towards centre half forward. Stokes goes in that direction and hits him on the chest. Beautiful play by Stokes. And good forward leading patterns by Daniel Stafford. He ducked in and around. He had Braxton Armat for company and finally found the space at centre half forward.
Yeah, very smart footy there, Jared Stokes. He's, like you said earlier on, Robbie's very, very important to this Darwin Buffaloes side. You saw his class. It's an interesting matchup. He's probably got a little bit of speed on Labastida. Anyone that's on Labastida at the moment, it seems like they're isolating that contest. So, it'll be an interesting one to watch and see what the St Mary's coaching box do to fix that one up.
Big goal in these conditions. St Mary's have had at least as much of the footy, probably more inside 50s, I reckon. That's 2-3. What do you think? And here comes Stafford with a thumping kick, and it's straight through for 3 straight. So at one end, 3 straight 18. At the other, St Mary's with lots of opportunities, just 3 behinds. And with a slightly wet afternoon here, pretty handy lead. 17 gone first quarter.
Yeah, just more efficient going forward, aren't they, guys? It's pretty important that when you get the ball inside 50, you've got to make the most of every opportunity, especially on days like this. Saints just haven't been able to do that, whether it's a Buffs have definitely got plenty of class up forward. You see here Stokes playing through the midfield, but also, you know, resting forward. Bowles has gone forward. We see Campbell up there. Now Williams is up there as well. So very, very classy. Stafford has been up the ground really high, boys, early on, but you see as soon as he goes back deep into the forward line, he looks very, very dangerous for the Darwin Buffaloes. So going to be hard for St Mary's to contain that forward line.
Back in the middle, Miles. Adam Parry doing the ruck work there, normally across half back, much smaller player, giving Ryan Smith a rest. Cheek chases it to the boundary line and it goes out of bounds. Chris Williams pleading for out of bounds on the full. He won't get it at left half forward.
Rob, just on that observation before about a couple of times where Buffs haven't put anyone up in the ruck work, we've seen Tiwi Bombers do that later in the season last year. Hodge, you might be able to explain the coaching strategy behind it, but yeah, we've certainly seen other teams do it in this competition.
I think it just gives you an extra number around the foot of the footy.
Yeah.
Miles up against Parry again. Baxter Slater shrugged off the footy by Bowles. Came to Bradley Stokes. In it comes in the Stafford direction. Strong hands against Braxton Armat, and there might have to be a move there. I reckon Tom Davies or maybe even Anthony Longhodge, because I just think he's too big and strong, and his form this year has been red hot, Daniel Stafford.
That's an outstanding mark.
He's almost the best forward in the competition at the moment.
He is. He's a talent. He always has been. Local Alice Springs product. It's great to see him up here playing footy. He's a great kick for goal. He's a great set mark. Braxton Armat, maybe you just persist with him for a little bit longer and see how that goes. He just needs some help from his teammates.
Stafford for his second, and for a 21-point lead at the 19-minute mark of the first quarter, and he drills it through. 2 goals to Daniel Stafford, 2 goals to Matthew Campbell. They're 4 straight, the Buffs, and a big game for them to stay in touch with the top 3, and if they win this, they'll probably be into the top 3 on percentage. They trail St Mary's by a game at about 7 or 8%. But at the 19-minute mark of the first quarter, it's all Buffs on the scoreboard at least by 21.
Such a crucial game going into the break for Christmas, isn't it, guys? The winner of this, obviously, there's a lot on the line to really set up your next half of the season. But at the moment, Buff's just so clean when they go forward. But the difference is their midfielders' ability to get back, help out their defenders, and just keep bashing the ball forward, get it forward at all costs. And obviously, when you've got a forward line like they do, you're gonna score if you get it in there.
Whistle's gone. Ball's been put back down in the middle as St Mary's players streaming into the forward line. They didn't have their 6-6-6 quite set up. So now we can finally restart. 20 minutes gone, first quarter. Jared Waite is having a spell in the ruck. Miles beats him, but Waite grabs the footy. Shannon Lang laid an attempted tackle, and the ball sprayed out to the side where Seaton Kunoff takes a mark. Out towards half forward, mopped up by Palmer. Nabi Kelly thumps it long in towards the pocket. Stafford again. Now he's got Davies for company. The hold, and it's going against Stafford, and Davies will win the free kick.
Good call, Rob Cross. Anthony Valijo must have the TV on down there in the coach's box and has followed exactly what you've asked for.
So Davies goes by hand. Some pretty good pressure on the mark. And the kick around the wing. Oh, lovely mark. Is that Palmer? He has got wonderful hands, hasn't he?
Talent.
Rhett Jordan for company, who's a pretty strong-bodied player. Palmer kicks over the top, came Anthony Long. It stayed in play, so a chance here for Stafford again. He thumps it in the Campbell direction. He's now got Tyler Saunders for company, off hands and through for the first behind of the afternoon, going to the Buffaloes. 4-1-25. They lead by 22 points. 21 gone first quarter.
We talked about it early on. Obviously, they want to get the ball in nice and quick to one-on-ones, but Sean Edwards really well done then. It's exactly what Saints need. A player coming off his own opponent to help out his teammate.
Lovely mark by Jordan. Parry. Plays on quickly. He's got a player spreading out wide on the outer side in front of the scoreboard. It's Baxter Slater. Neat little pass further down the line.
See the difference in ball movement here, boys?
Yep, yeah, real change.
Leroy Larson goes in towards left half forward. Waite up in front. Much bigger body. And that typical Jared Waite hang. He just spread eagles the legs, spread eagles the arms, sticks out his backside, and it was too strong for Moroney. Clunked a one grabber.
We're in for a good afternoon if you got Waite clunking them like that at one end and Stafford at the other. Ishmael Palmer getting up the ground, taking some good marks. Some real good skills on show here today, which is really good. And this one's critical for Saints. They really need this goal.
For their first, Waite not always reliable on the set shots. He's made them work, and it's thudding into the right-hand goalpost for the fourth behind of the afternoon to St Mary's. The margin 21 points, 22 gone first quarter.
Positive is they are generating opportunities. If they continue to do that, no doubt at some point they've got to start getting them through the big sticks, and that's got to be pretty soon.
Sean Armat, Jordan standing the mark. Goes to Shannon Lang, the Port Melbourne VFL player. For his first game of NTFL footy. Quick kick to Kelly. It's in front of the Morris Rioli grandstand. Nabi Kelly pumps it towards half forward. Stafford, went to one-hander, nearly came off two. Gave to Jared Stokes. Tried to throw it out to the running Tim Eldridge. He had Jacob Long for company. It's out of bounds.
Stokes and Stafford, very dangerous players early on. You saw St Mary's mindset change.
Quarter time here. Great start. St Mary's missing some opportunities, and as a result, at quarter time at TIO Stadium in this round 11 clash between second place St Mary's and fourth place Buffaloes. It's the Buffs 4-1-25. St Mary's 4 behinds, 4 points.
here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
So we can feel wherever you feel. Together, real, together. No one can stop. No one can stop. Nothing can ever bring me down.
Mother Nature can be frighteningly predictable in the Territory this time of year. Heavy rains and damaging winds can cause significant problems and disruption, particularly if you're unprepared, while downed power lines and flash flooding can be lethal. To ensure you're ready, visit powerwater.com.au/safety or text SAFETY to 0428 323 991 for more information. Because staying safe and ready around Mother Nature should be second nature.
CFS Schoolwear is the perfect choice for quality custom-made school uniforms. Ideal clothing for all school-related activities, whether it's 50 or 500 students, we have what you need. Contact the Cricket and Football Shop NT for your free CFS Schoolwear quote today.
Let's see. Roma, Verona.
Perhaps Barcelona.
Make your dream holiday a reality. Book your next getaway at Flight Centre with interest-free holidays and flexible repayment options.
Best in the air.
And everywhere.
Flight Centre.
Intersport, new concept store now open in Casuarina Square. Come in and check out a world-class shopping experience.
Dedicated sports zones.
Now stocking only the biggest brands in tennis, cricket, fitness from treadmills to benches, boxing, swimming, darts, pool and table tennis. For awesome service and advice,
Come in and see it.
still locally owned and operated, the all-new Intersport concept store.
Now open at Casuarina Square.
Boys, we've got a real big problem. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody. I'm talking about family violence. It's time we said no more to family violence, isn't it? Yeah. Think about it.
We've all got to say no more to family violence.
No more!
Family violence is a community problem and it needs a community response from all of us, and sport is a big part of that. But we can all do our bit by being more respectful to each other. Please make this year the year we say no more to family violence.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium, where it's quarter time. The Darwin Buffaloes and St Mary's and the Buffs 4-1-25, leading St Mary's with just the 4 behinds for the quarter. Matt Hepworth, Andrew Hodges and Rob Cross in the commentary box this afternoon. Hodgie, Saints had glimpses at times in that first quarter where they were linking up quite well, but really just couldn't make the most of their forward opportunities.
Yeah, they generated a lot of opportunities, but obviously, yeah, very, very differing game plans between the two sides. Wet weather game, Buffs just trying to bang it forward, get it into a really classy forward line one-on-one, and they took the most of their opportunities, where Saints, it did work for them. They did generate lots of opportunities, but when they did get it there, because of the slow ball movement, there's a lot of pressure in that forward line. So the Saint forwards not getting clear shots on goals, missed some of their set shots they should have kicked, but it'd be interesting to see what they come out and do this quarter, because they're going to have to close the gap pretty quick.
Some strong bodies in the middle for this ball up. Smith won the tap. Cheek breaks his way through for St Mary's, and they're straight into attack and onto the chest of Calder. Couldn't complete the mark. From behind there was Flay. Socket off the ground by, I think it was Pendlebury. Gained about 30 metres up towards right half back for the Buffs. Good numbers for the two Blues around the footy. Williams, another neat handball, gave it to Tim Eldridge. Eldridge missed a lot of footy last year with a back injury. It was a big out for the Buffs. Good to see him back.
Never thought I'd say this, but Pendlebury is a very, very good player, isn't he, boys? He's had a fantastic start to the game for Buffs. It's obviously wouldn't say that about that name in a Collingwood jumper.
A few centimetres taller than his brother, hence he plays in a key position, not on the ball. Cameron Stokes has been good so far. He went charging through without the footy. Kelly gave to Jalen Clark. Only as far as Jack Geary, who's good. Thumps it back inside the Leroy Larson direction. Might have been held by Moroney. Play on the call. Well done by Bradley Stokes. He had a good first quarter. Still going hard at the footy, but Jared Waite scoops it up and he's stripped of the ball. Rioli tried to be clever, met there by Coombs, who sees it out of bounds just outside attacking 50 for Saints at left half forward. Yeah, it's just lingering around this forward line here for St Mary's. They're going to have to make some opportunities, but plenty of Buffs bodies around the footy and in defence there. I think we're one-on-one all across the ground, which is really good to see, because it's going to be some hard, tough footy. Smith and Lyons. Lyons falls over against the much bigger-bodied Smith. There's an infringement there. Ricky Nolan, watching from Bali, would hate that. He just says the big blokes just rip in, let them go at it. And I reckon Lyons was beaten for strength then and should not have been a free kick. But Lyons will get it at right half back, outer side. I might check in on what you think Ricky might be doing in a moment, Hodgie, over there in Bali as the ball spills off the pack. Comes down to Salmon, who was good in the first quarter. Runs to 60. Little short pass, wanting his teammate there in Calder. Off hands, came to Flay. He tries a sneaky kick over the top. Charging after it was Pendlebury. Soccer's only as far as Edwards. Slips down, might have been taken high. Accidental, because he was slipping down and Seaton Kunoth infringed. Playing on quickly there was Edwards, wanting Calder. Beautiful gather by the big man, but was taken in a strong tackle by Eldridge. Comes to Shannon Rioli. He's met very strongly by Seaton Kunoth. Comes towards the boundary line. Jacob Long was there. It goes out of bounds. The ability of the Buffalo defenders to work for each other, obviously come off their man and help outnumber at the contest, has been really impressive. And just talking about Ricky Nolan, I'm pretty sure I did see him at Casuarina before he left, buying a brand new pair of pink Speedos. So he's probably sitting there in his pink Speedos watching this telecast right now, Rob Cross. Deserves a break, had a big year. Our co-commentator. Comes to Cheek on the left boot, in towards the forward pocket. Well played by Pendlebury. He got in front of Jared Waite, the former Blue and Kanga star, and then gains another 30 metres. Well played by Braxton Armour. Just got a foot into it, though, and turns it back in the Cheek direction. Comes back here to Anthony Long. Throws it on the right boot. In front is Leroy Larson. One grab, two, brings it down. Used Cameron Stokes as a step ladder in the end, but set himself beautifully, and from 30 metres out, now a chance for Saints' first goal of the afternoon. Great mark, Leroy Larson. Very, very talented player. Situation you don't want to be in there, Cammy Stokes, but if anyone's going to sit under the ball like that, it's Cammy Stokes. He's very, very brave. There wasn't much more he could do there. Leroy Larson just jumped in to the body, gave himself, protected the drop zone of the footy, and took a really good mark in the end, and he is a pretty good shot for goal, so hopefully he can slot this one through and narrow that margin. Very good NTFL footballer, Leroy Larson. Shoots on goal, and he has kicked it. The first of the afternoon for St Mary's. The second place Saints, 1-4-10, 15 points behind the Buffs, 4 minutes gone, second quarter. Well, the return, they've had probably 4 or 5 inside 50s in this first 3 or 4 minutes, Matty Hepworth, and they finally get a score for it. So they know exactly the way they started the game. They just keep generating it, but
like that, they're going to have to make sure they kick a score here to get themselves back into it. But just good persistence, and Joseph Salmon, just the young guys in that around the footy then created enough pressure to turn the ball over and get it back inside 50.
And it's just reward for effort. We saw all the traffic going Saints' ways there. It did count. There was 5 inside 50s within the first 4 minutes, and finally they've got something on the board.
No breeze here at TIO Stadium today. Jared Stokes breaks away from the middle, comes off his knee, but gets it up towards centre half forward. Parnell beaten to it by Williams. Stokes still running onto it in towards the forward pocket. Anthony Long came the other way and met him, and then soccers off the ground towards the wing, only as far as Jalen Clark. Over the top, crashing Long, came to Kieran Campbell on the left boot, centering ball, wanting Stafford. Stafford's got 2 to beat. Over the back of the pack, Smith. Will it go through from behind? It does. Bus 4-2, St Mary's 1-4, 5 minutes second quarter.
Good contest in that passage of play. We're seeing Mocky Coombs and Long just having a bit of a push around down here in front of us, bit of emotion going on there, but obviously some good passages of play.
Sean Edwards, 3 AFL clubs, now with St Mary's, kicks beautifully to Jordan from the Eastern Footy League in Melbourne. Might have been smothered there by Stokes, comes in the Eldridge direction. Jacob Long went hard at it. Good tackle there by Salmon on Eldridge to get him around the legs. I think that's how the umpire saw it. So Timmy Eldridge will win a free kick right in front of the 2 interchange races. And to send the Buffs forward again. Playback underway. With Eldridge just poking a measured kick. In front might have been a mark there. It has been paid. It's going to Jordan. So he's getting busy in this quarter.
Very good player.
Yeah, solid build. Seen a lot of Shannon Lang, one of the big name players in the Buffs lineup today. Running back there with a flight was Sean Armack pretty courageously. It's coming the other way. There's Eldridge as well as Salmon. Off hands and out of bounds again. So play right in front of us in the commentary box. Just in front of the Morris Rioli grandstand here at TIO Stadium. This is round 11, last round before Christmas. 4th place Buffs leading 2nd place at Mary's by 16 points. In front there was Lyons, over the back opposite number 20 Ryan Smith probably won that contest. Larson went without it, gave to Ish Palmer. To Seaton Kurnoth. His kick in the Kieran Campbell direction. Good pressure came from Campbell. Here's Shannon Lang, the Port Melbourne VFL star. Kicks it inside attacking 50. Campbell, little nudge. Stafford there as well. Have both kicked 2 goals for the Buffs. Off the ground goes Chris Williams. Gets to the ball first. Can he gather? A couple of St Mary's jumpers come at him. Squeezes it back to Stafford. He handball backwards is pretty clever. To Lang quickly. Thrown on the boot. Hooks the kick. It might have been Seaton Kurnoth in fact. And away to the left behind only. Buffs now inaccurate at that Michael Long centre end. They lead by 17 points.
Chrissy Williams, fantastic team man. He probably should have just pulled the trigger and had a shot on goal there, but he making sure he's trying to bring his teammates into the game, but he's got to kick those goals.
Sean Edwards for St Mary's wants Ryan Smith. Well done by Miles to reach around and spoil it away towards the boundary line. Handball comes to Jordan. He kicks to half forward. Out comes Calder. Eldridge in the way. Look at that pace. Spins out of trouble. Got away from Yarra. Then tried to sidestep around Miller. That is Riley Miller for St Mary's. Diving on it dangerously and then slapping it out cleverly was Larson to Baxter Slater to Edwards. Throws it on the boot quickly. Up towards the wing. Jordan, but to the back of the pack, Cameron Stokes. 15-metre handball. Hits the chest of Shannon Lang. He's getting busy. Drives a little short pass in the Stafford direction. Couldn't complete the mark. Well played by Davies and well played by Parnell breaking away from half-back. Kicks back in towards the middle of TIO Stadium and follows up his hard work. Chopped down though by Seaton Kurnoth. Might have had his head ripped off there by Jacob Long. Holding the footy instead. I think he did duck. I reckon that's a pretty good call. Maybe play on, but the umpire backed himself and the kick squeezed off to Jordan. It's all St Mary's at the moment. Buffs need to hold. Once Parry finds him at right half forward, 70 from goal. Sliding by was Edwards. He was ignored, so Parry kicks it into the hot spot. Out comes Calder on a long lead. He's 3rd man up. Big spoil from behind. Shannon Rioli was taken to ground in place of the umpire. Almost taken away there by Lang. He just looked up at the last moment, dropped the footy. Came to Jared Stokes. Neat sidestep. Lang again. Coming at him the other way, there was Ryan Smith. Lang burrowing underneath his legs, but Smith did pretty well to stand atop him and grab the footy. Gave it off there to Labastida. It was received from Parry and thumps it up towards half forward. Eldridge, though, standing there strongly across half back. His kick is poor, straight down the throat of Labastida. Wastes no time. Jackson Geary marks. Braith Hodges slide by. Give him a touch. He doesn't. He ignores him and then he'll kick it straight down the middle of TIO Stadium in towards the forward pocket. Out comes Ryan Pendlebury with a big fist and bashes it only as far though as Jacob Long. Neat sidestep, spins towards 50 from 50 metres from the paint, and he kicks it into the behind post out of bounds on the full.
Did all the hard work there, young Jacob Long. He just had to finish that. He's got the talent to finish that. He probably just rushed himself, but generally playing in defence. But today, looks like he's up forward. So you've seen there, guys, a bit of aerial ping pong going on there for a couple of minutes, but both sides playing numbers behind the footy, and that's the reason for that.
Tom Flay wants Ishmael Palmer. Good spoil away there came from Braxton Armat, and it's out of bounds at left half forward for St Mary's.
Crossy, you mentioned Lang getting busy early in this quarter. How fortunate is he to play your first game in the NTFL in conditions like this here in Darwin? In the last couple of weeks, it's been stinking hot. It's absolutely beautiful out there today, I'd imagine. So we're here in the air-conditioned box, so we don't know what the conditions are out there, to be honest. But
much cooler, isn't it, Hodgie? We've had just beating sun as well as the humidity. Toe that cloud cover, much more comfortable conditions. Good pressure across half forward there by St Mary's, wanting to keep it in. Coombs squeezes out the handball. Maroney close to the boundary line. Jacob Long comes at him and sees him out of bounds.
Even though it's a low-scoring game, boys, this has been a very, very good contest. We've seen some very, very good pick-up and skill and kick, and it's a really good game to watch. Hopefully our viewers are enjoying it and our listeners, because it is a great game of footy, and two clubs that are very proud, and obviously a lot of tradition and rivalry between them both.
Finals-like intensity. Calder up against Miles to the back of the pack. Edwards couldn't take it away. Kelly, clever, slipped it on there to Williams. Williams then pokes it along in front of him, only as far as Nick Yarran. The racehorse throws it on the boot. Running back of the flight there. There might be a hot kick against Flay going to Jared Waite. Calder also was there, but Waite wins the free kick 25 metres out directly in front.
You're right, the rain has certainly kept the scores down a little bit, but not the quality of football. And both these teams playing for a lot. Of course, we are heading into the Christmas break where teams can regroup and then really set themselves up for the second part of the season as we head into finals. Buffs fourth on the ladder at the moment, Saints a second. A win by the Buffs today would be very handy for them just before Christmas.
Hit the post in the first quarter. Waite stabs at it, doesn't miss this time. They're coming back, St Mary's. 2-4-16, trail by 11 points. The Buffs 4-3, 27-11 gone second quarter.
For some reason, this is the scoring end, isn't it? There's, like you said before, Rob, there's absolutely no breeze at all. But teams just getting the ball in quick down this end of the ground seem to be scoring nice and easy. And some really good pressure here from St Mary's to cause the turnover. Chrissy Williams tried to hit off the ground. Braxton Armat probably a little bit lucky. Nick Yarran as well. But that quick ball in, especially when you've got forwards like Calder and Waite, they are causing some problems with that quick ball in. So. And the little guys have got to get a little bit busy. Obviously, we've seen Shannon Rioli do a little bit more work, Jacob Long up forward, Nick Yarran. So they just got to get at the feet and make sure they kick these goals.
Yarran again. Baxter Slater first to the footy. Inside attacking 50. Pendlebury's fist up against Waite. Parry. Back to Parry. Wants to feed it out to Geary. Coming at him strongly with Stokes. Drop the footy. Advantage will be paid. Kelly breaks away from half back. Kicks in the Palmer direction. Has got front spot. Spoiled away well by Armat. That's a good contest. Palmer gets there first, but bumped off the footy. Yarran about to be brought down by Bowles. Gets his kick just in time. And it's out of bounds in the full, though. But at least it's 20 or 30 metres further down the ground on the wing in front of the scoreboard. Buffs go back in the Stafford direction in front. Well played by Davies. Worked him under the footy without infringing. Palmer in hard at the footy, got to it first. Quick kick comes around in the Tyler Saunders direction. He's now accompanying Campbell. That's a pretty good matchup, and he did well there, Saunders. Kick squeezed out towards centre half back. About to be tackled. There was Parnell. Smith in there as well. I think it was Davies, that player for St Mary's. Socket off the ground by Cooper was clever. In towards the goal square. Can Stafford get boot to ball? He can in the goal square, and he gets his third. That is a very fortunate goal, but they just willed it forward, the Buffs, and get a pretty handy one. St Mary's coming hard at them, and the Buffs margin back out to 17 points.
I was about to say a couple of seconds ago that the Tom Davies matchup, he's done a great job on keeping Stafford quiet. Davies went after the ball here, fumbled, couldn't quite pick it up. Ball turns over. Stafford's just snuck out the back and got an opportunistic goal here. Unlucky for Tom Davies because he has done a really good job on Stafford since halfway through that first quarter after he kicked his last goal. But he's always dangerous, Stafford. You've got to have someone on him. He can do it in the air and he can do it on the ground. He's a very, very good player.
Full credit that passage of play. I probably didn't pay enough credit to. Big ruckman Miles there. 2 efforts on the ground for a big man just to initially lay the tackle on Smith and then funnel it out to set up that goal. It was brilliant play. Smith beats him to it this time. Miles fights on. Off the ground goes Geary to the wing. Jalen Clark up against Salmon. Lang, advantage paid. Sidestep by Mackenzie. Back to Eldridge. Buffs having a nice little spurt here. Long kick. Stafford. Oh, beautiful spoil away. Reaching around there by Davies. Comes to Campbell. Plays for the free kick. Socket off the ground. Seaton Kurnoff first to the footy. Clever between the legs to Bowles. Bowles, can he return the favour? Back to Seaton Kurnoff. Good defence though by St Mary's. Cheek comes in. Seaton Kurnoff will not be denied. Got the handball away only as far as Anthony Long. But it looks like it's going to be... it's a free kick to Seaton Kurnoff, is it all? Yeah, holding.
Just a little jumper pull after he handballed that ball.
So free kick outside 50. He wants Stafford again. Won't quite get to him. Kieran Campbell came in strongly. Kieran Parnell thrown out of the contest. Matty Campbell comes in to lay a tackle. Kieran Campbell again. Matt Campbell involved. Socket off the ground. And it goes out of bounds at left half forward for the Buffs.
Campbell's and Stokes, and they're everywhere. Good passage of play, a lot of pressure from both sides, making it really difficult to clear the ball. This is a really good game of footy, guys.
15 minutes gone, second quarter. Buffs lead by 17 points. Smashed 25 metres down the ground by Ryan Smith. Beautiful one-handed pick up by Cameron Stokes. Shrugs the tackle of Jacob Long to Lockie McKenzie, who gathered and gave it to Sean Armat. Standing in the way, though, is Kieran Parnell, who hacks it back and kicks it out of bounds on the full in front of the Rioli grandstand as Ryan Smith comes off for a break. And
how was that punched by Smith before? I reckon that had 25 on it, Rob. Far out.
Had some venom in it, that's for sure. Lockie McKenzie waits for the ball to come back into play. Sean Edwards there standing the mark. So an important player, McKenzie, big body buff, kicks it up towards half forward. Campbell, in from the side went Stafford, fell into the lap of Campbell. He played on quickly to the back of the pack. Williams could get here first. Sliding across as Bowles was clever. Coming in there was Armat. Off the ground,
Hey.
Campbell! Wonderful goal. He's banged it through off the ground from 15 metres out, and the Buffs have their sixth and sneak away again.
Very clever from Kieran Campbell. He was up at the contest there. He just got on his bike and got forward and just hoped that his teammates would get it inside to him. You see, lost his opponent through traffic there. Campbell quick kick and just stayed in the contest, just ran to support his teammates. They had probably 4 on 3 running forward. You can see plenty of Saints jumpers coming through now, but very, very clever. You know, those half opportunities in these conditions are very, very important on a day like today.
First game for the Buffs. He did play 3 games for Tiwi last season, or a couple of seasons ago, in fact. Been playing Central Australian Footy League as well. Shannon Lang, tackled by another Shannon, Rioli this time. Up inside attacking 50. Standing firm, Cameron Stokes. Pendlebury, a rare mistake down the throat of Salmon. Turnover on here, right half forward. Salmon will play on quickly. He's got Jacob Long. He's got a man on in the pocket. He waited. Now will sidestep around Pendlebury to try, and then a beautiful centering ball to Leroy Larson, 35 out directly in front.
I reckon he knew exactly what he was doing there, Jacob Long. He used the guy out here in the pocket as a decoy, knowing that he had numbers in there. Yeah, drew it in, pushed the defenders all to that one side, and it just opened up. There was a couple of players there. I think Leroy Larson's got the ball now, but I reckon maybe it was Nick Yarran or Parry or someone like that was next to him. So they could have raffled it, but my opinion is it's in the right man's hand because he's already kicked a goal from this exact position early on in the quarter.
So St Mary's just to peg one back. They trail by 23 points. They now trail by 17 points. Clapped through in the square by Jackson Calder, and an important goal to St Mary's. The Buffaloes had weathered the early storm in this second term, and St Mary's back to 17.
Bit of young class. We talked about the weather conditions, but there's been a bit of class from a couple of young players here. Young Joseph Salmon finds his teammate in Long, and just this Pendlebury had to come up, leaving that man in the pocket. Sean Edwards drew it. Everyone went to that one side, and yeah, it was Nick Yarran, the other player, sitting there. But yeah, good option and very good finish by Leroy Larson.
St Mary's 3 goals to 2 this second quarter. Played once already this season. It was a 22-point win to St Mary's. Shannon Lang, McKenzie, trying to get away there from Baxter Slater. Out towards the left, or I should say the right forward pocket. Davies chasing it hard. It goes out of bounds.
It's interesting in these centre square bounces, guys, whether Smith's in there or Waite, they seem to have dominance in the middle, St Mary's with the ruck, but in that situation there, looked like they went on the same page, and the Buffs were able to clear that footy. I think it was through Lang in the end, and then to Mackenzie, who has just got a stoppage in their forward line.
Stafford to take on Jared Waite in ruck. Stafford gets there first. Waite comes up with the footy though. Handball over the top to Cheek. Bowls. Cheek stands his ground, wins the footy, gets onto his left boot, kicks around the boundary line. Stokes gets nudged out of the contest. Up in the Bradley Stokes direction with Jacob Long for company. It's out of bounds.
Cameron Stokes taking a very good quarter for Buffaloes. Gentleman just playing in front of his opponent, obviously clearing the ball at will for the Buffs. So he's been very good and very important for them down back.
Almost 20 minutes gone. Second quarter won't be a long term. Just a handful of goals scored. Lyons caught behind. Waite won the tap. In the direction of Jordan. Shannon Rioli back towards Jordan. Stokes there for company. Leroy Larson sees Pendlebury out of bounds.
It has been an interesting quarter, not so many goals, but if they blew the siren right now, I think Saints have won the quarter, which is exactly what they needed, and they probably need another one here now, but going to this half time to close that gap just a little bit, and it's game on in the second half.
Waite and Lyons again, 60 out from Saints goal, kicking to the airport end of TIO Stadium. Lyons in front, Pendlebury, Mackenzie for the Buffs. Quick kick in the Jared Stokes direction, Anthony Long right there with him. Stokes wanting Williams. Parry. Back to Long. Off to Cheek. Cheek for St Mary's. Towards half forward. Running back of the flight there. Stokes spilt the mark. Jacob Long. Bradley Stokes. Comes there to Jordan. Out to Yaron. But stripped away by Eldridge. Gets around Waite and then thumps it on the right boot. Long kick up towards half forward. Palmer in front. One grab, two. Takes a strong mark. Not paid. Play on. At ground level though. Mops up with a handball to Mackenzie. On the left boot. Quick kick in towards attacking 50. Campbell there up against Tyler Saunders. Comes to Davies, however reliable across half back. And he thumps it to a 1-on-1. In front was Salmon. Now it's 2-on-1. Jalen Clark for the Buffaloes runs onto the footy. Sweeps the handball back in board. He's got Shannon Lang. Can he pick it up? He can. Running down is Yaron. Just gets his kick away. The kick is burst through the fingertips there of Williams. Lovely one-handed pick up there by Stafford. Held onto a little bit too long. Play on the call. Comes to Parnell. Williamstown bound in January. Gets the kick to Leroy Larson. 21 and a half gone second quarter. Is there time for another St Mary's goal? They trail by 17 points. And the kick is poor, wanting Shannon Rioli. Carried over the back of the pack. Play on the call. Waite tackles Eldridge. Falling to ground. Handball wanted Jalen Clark, but Shannon Rioli wouldn't be denied. He dives after the footy. Eldridge plays for the free kick and wins it at half back as Lyons gets into a pretty vigorous wrestle against Shannon Rioli. And he's really fired up, the big ruckman. As Josh Cheek gets in the middle and pushes the two players away.
I think this has been turned over here. He threw a couple and did Devon Lyons.
Bigging him out.
Buffs could have held him out here. It's pretty disappointing.
Rioli, Stokes, still Cammy Stokes. Armat there comes in to lay a tackle. Bradley Stokes over the shoulder. It's going to be a St Mary's ball. And it's going to go to Leroy Larson, I think. He's going to line up for his third goal of the afternoon and keep St Mary's well in it at half time. Just when the Buffs looked like they could clear it. I doubt Campbell's going to be happy. He's going to be even more filthy now because this is a certain goal and will bring the margin back to just 11 points close to half-time. Ill discipline kills you, Hodgie.
Yeah, not good. Obviously, they were gone into half-time with a handy little lead, but now you'd think this is a certain goal for Leroy Larson, really able to close the gap. These two sides always have a bit of argy-bargy when they play each other, but it makes it interesting for us in the grandstand. But good goal by Leroy Larson.
Larson has 3. St Mary's have kicked 4 goals this quarter to 2 by the Buffs. It's 4-4-28 to the Buffs, 6-3-39. 23 minutes gone, second quarter.
You can see, obviously, he got the 50 metre there, but Leroy Larson just stayed in the contest here, put his head over the ball in that situation there. Definitely there. He didn't initiate the head-on contact. Probably a hard situation for Sean Armat to be in, but Leroy Larson, attack the ball, put your head over it, and you're going to win the footy or you're going to draw a free kick. Either one of the two would benefit, and obviously he finished really well.
Cameron Stokes has got his left wrist and hand pretty heavily taped, and he's pretty ginger after that contest.
He's a gladiator, isn't he?
Wonderfully strong player. Larson first to the footy. Pendlebury sweats on him from behind. Handball to Miles. Great strength by Kelly. Shrug 1, shrug 2, breaks away. And saves the day across half-back for the Buffs as the tackles came. Half-time at TIO Stadium, ripping game of footy. It's second versus fourth, and St Mary's 4-4-28 trail the Buffaloes 6-3-39.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Absolutely zero.
Zero.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be zero.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's asking too much.
kilonewton centrifugal force, infrared remote control.
How does he do it?
24.5 kilowatt diesel motor.
He doesn't just know how to operate every piece of Kennard's hire gear we get in, but also its service details, its safety checks. I know.
It's as if he can hypnotise each piece.
Give me 2 passes with sauce, coffee white with 1 bun with icing, no pink icing.
Yep, no worries, Terry.
Kennard's making job easy.
Time to escape, cause I'm in need of warmer weather. Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better. And I'm going far and wide. Ooh.
Great Northern Brewing Co., the beer from up here.
Boys, we've got a real big problem. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody. I'm talking about family violence. It's time we said no more to family violence, isn't it? Yeah. Think about it.
We've all got to say no more to family violence.
No more! Family violence is a community problem and it needs a community response from all of us, and sport is a big part of that. But we can all do our bit by being more respectful to each other. Please make this year the year we say no more to family violence.
Looking for the best and brightest to join your team? At Quality People, we specialise in finding quality, hard-to-get professionals, and we have an office right here in Darwin. Kick your recruitment goals with Quality People. qualitypeople.com.au.
Now that's quality.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
On Territory roads, anything can happen, so you need to drive to the conditions. Speeding can get you into all sorts of trouble. Dirt roads aren't just dusty. When it's hard to see, they're dangerous. At water crossings, remember, you're driving a motor car, not a boat. High water can be deep trouble.
Choosing a health fund can be tricky. Some are too big, too small, or just not right at all. But with Territory Health Fund, you can make sure your cover is the right fit.
the NTFL clubs and umpires would like to share the following events and messages and thank their sponsors.
Getting my hands on the footy and just being with my mates.
I like being outdoors. It just makes me happy. I don't like it when I get yelled at.
It's pretty embarrassing when someone's shouting at you halfway through the game.
It makes me feel like I'm useless and I can't do anything.
We're just kids.
We're just here to have fun.
Let us do what we love.
Just let kids be kids.
You go home and get your panties, I'll go home and get my panties, and away we'll go. Oh, shuffle up the buffalo, shuffle up the buffalo. Oh.
Wedding or birthday is coming up? Maybe a get-together with friends and family. Waratah Clubhouse at Gardens Oval is the perfect venue for your next community function. Celebrate in the home to one of Darwin's iconic football clubs, Waratah Clubhouse.
Students from Mindarie School in Central Australia and Niu Community Daly River travel to Darwin to participate in the Michael Long Learning Leadership Centre Employment Pathways program. Here's a rundown of what they got up to.
We spent the afternoon learning from rangers who are leaders in our community who look after our country. On our second day, we explored employment pathway at CDU.
At CDU, we learned about careers in health and learned new skills on how to care for sick patients.
On Thursday, we will be participating in work experience at AFLNT. Today, we prepared for this by writing a CV and cover letters. We experienced an interview and had to explain why we wanted the job.
We got up so early today to go to Norfolk. We did fitness training, learned about jobs in Norfolk, and got to view lots of equipment.
In the afternoon, we visited Aboriginal Broadcasting. Some of us got to go on radio, others made TV commercials.
Today we got to work at the AFLNTs. The choices were reception, media, maintenance and game development. And one group had the chance to work with Karen Sheldon Catering.
We are learning about tourism and hospitality at school. This morning we saw all the jobs available in a hotel and visited Crocodile's Cove. The crocodiles were awesome and they were heaps of people with cool jobs here too.
The thing I liked most about this week was everything.
Teaching other kids.
The Crocodile's Cove catering.
Game development because we went to Marara and teach the kids how to play footy.
Training. I like playing games with the kids and teaching them things.
Going to Norfolk and looking at their cool equipments.
For more information, please visit the relevant club or umpire's Facebook page.
Welcome back to a wet TIO Stadium where it is half-time. Darwin Buffaloes up against St Mary's. The round 11 clash. Darwin Buffaloes 6-3-39. St Mary's 4-4-28. Matt Hepworth, Andrew Hodges and Rob Cross with you this afternoon. Gentlemen, St Mary's started off well in that second quarter there. I think had about 5 inside 50s within the first 4 minutes. And then at the end of the quarter, a little bit of ill discipline from the Buffaloes saw them narrow that lead down. So it'll be interesting to see how this second half plays out. Andrew Hodges.
Yeah, it's been a really good first half of footy. I'm looking forward to this second half. Buffs have had some really big highlights up forward with Stafford, Campbell kicking some really good goals. They've had some really good players down back. Moroney's been good. Eldridge has been fantastic. And Cameron Stokes on the flip side for St Mary's through the midfield. We haven't seen... Geary's been okay. We haven't seen him get as much of the footy as he normally does. But, Rhett Jordan's been fantastic for them, and Ryan Smith in the ruck. And obviously... up forward, Waite and Calder look dangerous, but the smalls for St Mary's just got to get busy in that forward line. Rob Cross, Shannon Rioli, Nick Yarran, these guys, Joseph Salmon, need to get the ball at ground level and start taking the most of their opportunities to close this gap. But other than that, Buffaloes probably could have been a few more in front at half-time.
Great game of NTFL footy between these traditional rivals in recent seasons. They've been at opposite ends of the ladder. Last year, of course, at Mary's, a most unusual wooden spoon, and the Buffs have been up there the last 2 years, beaten grand finalists 2 seasons ago. But St Mary's are back up the top of the ladder, and the Buffs are back in the top 5 as well. Coombs wins a free kick to get us underway in the third quarter. His kick comes off to Pendlebury. A lot of disposals, just very reliable with his spoiling, but he's got a chance to thump one long on the left boot. Kicks it inside attacking 50. Stafford wrestling, gets rid of Davies. So holding each other, said the umpire. Labastida thrown down in a strong tackle. Comes to Kieran Campbell. Quick snap across the face. Through for a behind only.
All the St Mary's defenders got sucked to the footy. Kieran Campbell sat on the outside. Clever Matt Campbell handball out to him. Anthony Long just caught onto it pretty quickly and put a bit of pressure on to cause that behind.
Done some nice things, hasn't he, Kieran Campbell?
Very clever little player.
Kieran Parnell kicks in towards the back pocket and finds Jordan. Jordan's kick from defensive 50. Big fly from behind from Braxton Armat. Cheek thrown out of the contest and held on too long, according to the umpire. So Josh Cheek will win the free at half-back.
He's first at the footy at ground level. He's got plenty of possessions from being there. He's doing very well so far.
Wonderful player in any conditions, but with a bit of moisture around. Exceptionally good. Waite was clever. Got around Ryan Pendlebury. Kicked in the Calder direction. He leads Flay in the race to the footy. Here's Jackson Geary. Towed it cleverly along to himself. And from the boundary line, a clever kick in towards full forward. Salmon there at the top of the goal square. Pushed away from the footy. He's got a couple to beat. He fights on well, though, does Joseph Salmon. Calder there as well. Ball squeezed out. Taken by Coombs. Throws it on the boot and clears defensive 50 back towards the wing. Kelly soccers off the ground up towards half forward and charges it after it. Good pace by Kelly. Labastida will get to it first, though. Wants the boundary line. Still pushing it along in front. Kelly, good strength. Well picked up by Kieran Campbell. Then couldn't control it. Parnell for company. The lighter body player was pushed out of the way, but a good result for the Buffs. Out of bounds, 50 around from their goal at right half forward.
Saints really were in the box seat to clear that. Labastida probably needed to pick up first time. He had Parnell on the inside. Bit slow to react was Parnell to close up that gap to Kieran Campbell. But in the end, did a very good job to get the ball out of bounds and get a boundary throw in. Dangerous positions for St Mary's, though, at this part of the ground.
12 points the margin. Buffalo's way. Stafford tried to force it forward. Off the ground goes Cheek. Now Jordan. In front, Larson, wonderful mark in front of McKenzie. He's had a good game last. He's kicked 3 goals. He marks at half back. Kicks in the Yarran direction. Salmon in from the side. Bradley Stokes over the top to Yarran, though. Here goes St Mary's. He scooped it up. Gives it to Salmon. Handball missed its target. He'll have too much pace, you'd think, for Cammy Stokes. But Stokes will have the experience. Comes to Salmon. Quick snap on goal. Can't bend it around. It goes out on the full.
Did everything right there, young fella. He just needed to finish. Probably needed to just get those legs moving because he would have taken off from Cammy Stokes. But the pressure from Cammy Stokes to cause that error was outstanding.
Across the face of goal to Pendlebury. Seaton Kurnoff's got a task here. He's got 2 to beat. 2 experienced players there in Calder and Geary. But he fights on wonderfully. Brilliant play by Seaton Kurnoff. And wraps up the ball at half forward just as St Mary's look dangerous. Beat 2 of them.
Moments like that can be game changers, boys. That's fantastic from the young guy.
Big smash by Smith, only as far as Palmer. Seaton Kunoth again, he's had a good game. Kieran Campbell bounced off his chest, still has front spot. Labastida pushes him off the footy. Shannon Lang towards the boundary line. Labastida again. Shannon Lang fights on. Geary, Campbell over the top. Shannon Lang still going hard, the Port Melbourne player. Towed off the ground there by Campbell. Comes into the lap of Chris Williams. Williams one way or the other. Seaton Kunoth to Kieran Campbell. Quickly onto the left boot. Wants Matt Campbell's a clever kick. Wasted no time. Campbell's taken down in a strong tackle. Don't see that too often. Stripped of the ball that time, Seaton Kunoth. A rare mistake. Good punishing tackling by St Mary's. And the ball in Braxton Armat's hands at right half back.
Great pressure from Braxton Armat for a big kid. He's chased down the little guy really well.
No lack of intensity early in this third quarter. The game is a ripper. Baxter Slater has it. Well, the whistle's gone. He's been paid the mark. Slight lull in play as he waits for something further afield. Is there a blood rule perhaps?
Yeah, I think so.
Play coming off Devon Lyons, involved in that scuffle late in the second quarter.
It's a blood rule, he can go straight on.
As David Miles comes on. St Mary's ring the changes. Braith Hodges back on for St Mary's, as well as Riley Miller. As the ball comes up towards half forward. Lovely stretch and mark by Calder. Conditions are drying out a bit. We haven't had any rain since about half an hour before the game. Wait, Geary, quickly on. Salmon will be good here. Runs, quick snap, got a little shove, and just runs into the behind post. No free kick. I think Shannon Rioli was calling for it. And there's going to be a ball up.
Unfortunate there for young Salmon. He did everything right to get into a position to receive that ball. Just couldn't finish it. Again, we're seeing St Mary's plenty of inside 50s and not taking their opportunities. They probably should be back level with Buffs at this stage of the game.
Larson from behind. And I don't think he put his hand up to take that ruck contest. And so it's going to be a Buffs free kick, or maybe it's for over the shoulder. It's going to go to Ryan Pendlebury. No, it's going to go, or Moroney perhaps. Kevin Moroney will take the free kick. Last line of defence for the Buffs in front of the Michael Long centre. Towards the back pocket, misses its target. And Mackenzie couldn't gather it before it skates off the wet turf and out of bounds.
Right idea, just not the right execution. But obviously Buffs early on the game, just that bang down the line, get it moving as quick as they can. They've sort of gone away from that a little bit in the last probably 5-10 minutes.
Just one score so far in the third quarter is behind the Buffaloes. They led by 11 at half-time, lead by 12 early stages third quarter. Seaton Kunoth picks it up. Kicks in the Kieran Campbell direction. He's caught behind Labastida. Labastida's stronger body, held front position. Bowles comes in from the side. Geary back to Parnell. Parnell gathers. Short kick on as far as Lachlan McKenzie. Gets the handball away to Stokes. Dangerous here. Labastida charging after him. Jared Stokes centering ball. He's got Stafford and Tom Davies. Davies gets to the footy first and gets a favourable bounce and just thumps it 40 metres up towards left to right half forward. Lang drops the chest mark. Dangerous here. Shannon Rioli comes up with the footy. Saints a chance. Rioli runs in and kicks a beautiful ball to Waite. Bad blue across half back there by the Buffs, and Waite will line up from 50 metres directly in front for his second goal of the afternoon. Plays on quickly. Calder's made some space, and Calder, the leading goal scorer for St Mary's this year with 15. Much better position, 35 out straight in front.
I was going to say, just before that kick, Waite parts it off. There's been a couple of things in that play. Tom Davies has been outstanding on Stafford since he moved on to him halfway through that first quarter. Obviously had a really good bounce there, but just banged the ball going forward. Shannon Rioli's class in that contest. I think it was 2-on-3 St Mary's there. Shannon Rioli just put the ball into space, and he's an absolute elite kick inside 50, hit Waite on the chest, and just poor checking from Buffs to leave Calder free, a bit closer to goal.
His first goal of the afternoon. Keeps it low, too low. Hands on it. Is there a mark paid? And I think the Buffalo player had first touch to it. Salmon tried to claim it. Yaron's dangerous in these situations. Got boot to ball. And he was pushed out of bounds just before he kicked it. So it'll be a boundary throw in right forward pocket.
I thought Calder would have put a little bit more into that. He probably could have done that from there. Just got up a little bit high.
Wet footy, a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
Maybe making excuses for him here. The big fella's had some opportunities today.
He has, yeah.
Probably should have kicked 2 or 3 at this stage of the game.
Miles and Smith in ruck. Miles worked his way to the front. Waite attempted a handball only as far as Chris Williams. Ishmael Palmer, good strong hands. At left half back. Kicks in the Armat direction. Tyler Saunders there with Campbell. And nudged into the fence, and I think Tyler Saunders said sorry.
Former work colleagues, those two boys. There'll be a little bit of banter going on, but that's another matchup that the St Mary's coaching staff have got right since halfway through that last quarter. He's been very good on Matt Campbell, even though we've seen little glimpses of brilliance. Tyler Saunders in most has done a pretty good job.
Campbell kicked 2 goals in the first quarter. Haven't seen a lot of him since. Smith goes to ground, as does Miles. Armat's handball just missing its target. Sliding by was Jordan. Tackle comes from behind there by Shannon Lang. He's still holding the footy in. What will the umpire do here? It could be pink. No, it's going to be a ball up.
Benefit of the doubt on a wet day.
Just took a long time to blow the whistle. In the end, he's come in. It wasn't being forced out. Tense third quarter. A lot riding on this game. Buffs wanting to stay in touch with the top 3. Jordan. Waite. Just looked up and the ball slipped out of his grasp. Cameron Stokes there for the Buffaloes in 14. And there's going to be another ball up. So who's going to break open first? Buffs hold the advantage. 12 points up, but it's not a lot. Low scoring game. 6 goals plays 4. 10 minutes gone third quarter. Stokes rugby style. Grabbed it. Buried his head low. Miles comes up with it. Now Williams just gains some metres up towards half forward. Chasing after it is Jacob Long. Jared Stokes with him. Stokes, Long. Campbell, great Northern Territory footy names. It goes out of bound. Matty Campbell wanted to deliver it. He won't get it.
Great experience for the young Jacob Long, playing on a class player like Jared Stokes. And did outstandingly there. Just caressed the ball to the boundary line, got it out of bounds. Give an opportunity for his team to reset and hopefully get this clearance.
David Miles has done a pretty good job in the ruck up against the very experienced Ryan Smith. Seaton Kunoth, Williams by hand, Kelly. Miller laid a tackle on him. Palmer was taken to ground strongly. Gee, it's a tight and tough contest. Loose tackle by Larson over the shoulder there. The umpire initially pointed the way of St Mary's, but the free kick goes to Chris Williams against Larson. Williams kicks it inside, attacking 50. Stafford's broken away there and couldn't quite get it on the third attempt. Comes to Kieran Campbell. Quick snap, vacant goal square, should scoot off the grass, but away to the right for a behind only. Labastide is down at centre half forward, clutching his shoulder. Stafford waving to the St Mary's bench in an act of good sportsmanship. But just some separation there from Stafford. Davies hung off him, but he couldn't bring the mark down at the third attempt. Here's Braith Hodges from the back pocket. Oh, beautiful sidestep. Gets away from Stafford and thumps it 40 metres down the ground. Unfortunately, only as far as Kevin Moroney for the Buffs. Thought about playing on quickly to Stokes, and then thought he'd just kick it long. Back in towards the pocket. It's not a bad kick, although Davies, he's got to the front. And Stafford couldn't gather the footy in the right forward pocket.
Spot on, Rob Cross. That separation between Davies and Stafford, you saw a definite change there. Stafford almost pulled in the mark, but you saw that contest just inside 50 there. Tom Davies readjusted himself, got himself back in front in that contest. He's done that all since they're halfway through that first quarter. He's starting to play in front on Stafford as we see Stafford go in the ruck here.
Up against Ryan Smith. Well played by Smith. Pushed Stafford out of the way. Miller, McKenzie for the Buffs, controlled the footy well, clever handball. No, well done by Riley Miller, just got his hand into it because the handball was going to send the Buffs forward. Eldridge courageous, over the top comes Parry, Jordan there as well, thrown off the footy, Lang over the shoulder, well played by Jordan, hard tough footy. He wanted it most and wins the free. Kick up towards half forward, well marked by Bradley Stokes, not paid. Cameron Stokes threw it out the side, not paid by the umpire. Coming in strongly there was Flay and holding the footy. Gee, that was tough. He gathered it, was immediately wrapped up, I thought. Yaron in towards the pocket. Pendlebury flies up against Calder. Neat gather by Calder. And he wins a free kick for over the shoulder. In fact, it's going to be Baxter Slater, who plays on quickly. Vacant square. Only man there, though, is Cameron Stokes, who sees it off his toes and through for... Well, it came off Stokes' boot then, and the goal umpires paid a goal to St Mary's. That's extraordinary. Cameron Stokes deliberately played at that with his boot rather than pick it up, and the goal umpire has paid a goal. That is extraordinary. I'm sure it hit Cameron Stokes' boot.
He's a pretty honest lad too, Cammy Stokes. He's not happy. We'll have a look at the replay here, but there's definitely been an lift of intensity from the St Mary's small forwards has made a difference, not giving the Buffs defenders much time here. Obviously, Calder just kills the footy inside. free kick to Baxter Slater there. That was there, no doubt about that. But it'd be interesting to see this next little bit if we get a replay of this off Cammy Stokes' foot.
You could argue he could have dived at it and tried to definitely spoil it through, but that's come off his boot, no question. Well, very lucky goal to St Mary's. It's in the book. Up goes Lyons. Tap one there by Smith. Comes to Geary. Back they go again. Out comes Salmon. Oh, wonderful mark. Oh, it's not going to Salmon. It's going to be a free kick to Adam Parry. No, the umpire can't work out who it goes to. It's going to Salmon.
He was getting grabbed. I was going to say that was a really good mark.
He deserved it.
Yeah. He's missed some opportunities, young Salmon, this quarter. I think he's kicked a couple of behinds, maybe one out on the full. He's had at least 3 or 4 shots on goal this quarter. I'm not going to say too much, so I don't want to put the Moz on him, but let's hope he kicks it, Rob Cross.
For a 1-point ball game. Sidestepping approach. Doesn't have enough carry on it. In fact, it goes out of bounds on the full to the right.
I'm not saying anything from now on when someone's lined up for goal.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, Saints brought back Peter McFarlane, and I can't help but wonder in a game like today if his experience, being the Saints veteran that he is, would be helping them up and forward a little bit more today.
Eldridge kicks out. Palmer. 2 players to beat. Flay. Jalen Clark. Bowles holding the footy. It's all going Saints' way at the moment. Good pressure. They've been relentless this third quarter with their tackling. And it's paying off. Sean Edwards hooks the kick back towards the pocket. Out came Waite. He had a couple of beats. Salmon's quick snap. Parry in the square. Well played by Salmon and well played by Parry to run and offer an opportunity from a couple of metres out directly in front. The margin back to a point, surely.
I get Parry's got to take that mark, but poor Joseph Salmon's had about 5 shots on goal. Hasn't kicked one this quarter. That one was going straight through the middle and his teammate marks on the line.
The former Pints player Adam Parry has played every game this year in the Premier League for St Mary's and gets a well-deserved goal. It's 6-5 to 6-4. The Buffs are in a bit of strife at the 16-minute mark of the third quarter.
Pretty smart handball off there from Joseph Salmon to Edwards. Waite just halves the contest. Salmon, quick kick forward. He was celebrating the goal.
I was just about to say he was ready.
He's been outstanding today, though, for Saints. I think he played in the 18s last week. He's got the recall this week, and he's been very good. He's been up on a wing, and they've put him forward, and it's just injected a bit of energy in their forward line, has it, Rob Cross, and it's made the difference in the last probably 5 or 6 minutes.
2 behinds only this quarter to the Buffs. 2 straight goals to St Mary's, and it's 41 to 40. Lions won the tap out. Shannon Rioli, McKenzie tackles him. Play on the call. Off the ground goes Lions. And as far as back to Slater. He fights on, taken down by Lachlan McKenzie. Beautiful pickup by Kieran Campbell. He is exciting. Wants Stafford. Got to the front, being held by Davies. And so Stafford a chance. Davies can't believe it. We have seen one contest in the match so far where Davies won the free kick. But Stafford, a much-needed goal for the Buffs because St Mary's are holding sway at the moment. They've kicked 2 goals this term. Stafford lining up for goal number 4. What a season he's had. Doesn't normally miss these. 25 metres out directly in front to the airport end of TIO Stadium for a 7-point lead to the Buffs. They're 4th on the ladder. They don't want to lose touch with the top 3. He pokes at it. Oh, he's missed to the right. Just a bit of lack of confidence, the nerves setting in. And he stays on a 3-goal tally for the afternoon.
Just a bit too casual, I think, Rob. In the end, he normally does nail them.
So Anthony Long kicks Long to the wing. Jacob Long runs onto it. Sockers, Yaron up against Eldridge. 2 racehorses. Eldridge clever. Parry comes in to Cheek. Cheek got a nice little shepherd from Yaron. Calder, clever nudge from behind. Got rid of Flay. Can't scoop it up. Now he does. Keeps it in. Well done by Calder. High kick will carry the required 15. Well played there by Miller. Got rid of his man. Dropped the chest mark. Comes back to Eldridge. About to be grabbed there by Yaron. Kicks up in the Campbell direction through the legs of he and Tyler Saunders. Stafford came up, gathered one-handed. Great pressure from big Ryan Smith. He stood in his way, and Stafford's got all the tricks. Smith had the big body and blocked him.
Got a game on our hands, gentlemen. The intensity's just lifted in the last few minutes. When you look at the scoreboard, Buff's just 2 points up. You can see why.
Smith's had a great game. Got rid of Lyons, kicks to half forward. Yaron got his body in front. Bradley Stokes has been pretty good, but well tackled. Parry's strong body comes into it in these wet conditions to Miller. Miller wants Calder. Flay there as well to the back of the pack. Dangerous here. Calder off the ground. And misses to the left. The margin's 1 point. 19 gone third quarter.
Definitely the small forwards for St Mary's have got busy, boys. That's what's the change of intensity's been.
Nabi Kelly marks in the back pocket. Kicks to a one-on-one. Well played by Edwards. Upends Jalen Clark, and Edwards dashes away. Centering ball, wanting Calder. Stretches, marks. It's all St Mary's at the moment. Can they make it up on the scoreboard, though? They trail by a point. This for Calder to put St Mary's in front.
Even though they're young, the smaller guys have got their skates on. The big guys have got busy too. Calder's been amazing. We just saw him on the other side of the ground competing for the footy. Now he's on the other side of the ground having a shot for goal.
Hasn't kicked a goal this afternoon. He's St Mary's leading goal scorer for the season with 15. Trots over 50. Got the carry, has it? Not quite. In fact, it thuds into the goal post on the right. We saw Jared Waite do that in the first quarter. And St Mary's scores level here at TIO Stadium. 6-6 apiece.
Excitement machine that is Joseph Salmon's just come back out after a spell on the bench.
Eldridge to bring the ball back into play for the Buffaloes. Out towards the wing, he wants Lang, Shannon Rioli there. Seaton Kunoth, ball jarred from his grasp. Whistle's gone. And it's going to be a free kick to the Buffs. To Seaton Kunoth, maybe a high shot.
Been one of Buffs' better players today.
Might be a long quarter, just 2 goals to St Mary's this term. Scores level at three-quarter time. We'll be set for an exciting final 20-odd minutes. Matty Campbell wins the free. Tyler Saunders is shut in right out of the game. Campbell called to play on. Kicks in the Jared Stokes direction. Good strength by Anthony Long. Edwards is getting busy. Dangerous signs for the Buffs. He throws it on the boot in the Calder direction, who takes a wonderfully courageous mark on his chest. Centering dangerously. Jalen Clark drops the mark, but has time to throw it on. Torpedo up towards half forward. Bowles waits for the ball to bounce. Davies, the consummate defender, just played it along in front of him. Happy to see the boundary.
Did a good job disguising that, did Tommy Davies. Calder, disappointing turnover inside there. Just the big guys.
Just too quick, I think, wasn't he?
Well, the big guys just got to kick the ball down the line. Don't try and be too tricky in these conditions.
There it is, three-quarter time. We're set for a wonderful final quarter. It's 6-6, 42 apiece, the Buffs and St Mary's.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
So we can feel wherever you feel together, real together. No one can stop. No one can stop. Nothing could ever bring me
Mother Nature can be frighteningly predictable in the Territory this time of year. Heavy rains and damaging winds can cause significant problems and disruption, particularly if you're unprepared, while downed power lines and flash flooding can be lethal. To ensure you're ready, visit powerwater.com.au/safety or text SAFETY to 0428 323 991 for more information. Because staying safe and ready around Mother Nature should be second nature.
CFS Schoolwear is the perfect choice for quality custom-made school uniforms. Ideal clothing for all school-related activities, whether it's 50 or 500 students, we have what you need. Contact the Cricket and Football Shop NT for your free CFS Schoolwear quote today.
Let's see. Roma, Verona?
Perhaps Barcelona.
Make your dream holiday a reality. Book your next getaway at Flight Centre with interest-free holidays and flexible repayment options.
Best in the air.
And everywhere. Flight Centre. Intersport, new concept store now open in Casuarina Square. Come in and check out a world-class shopping experience.
Dedicated sports zones,
Now stocking only the biggest brands in tennis, cricket, fitness from treadmills to benches, boxing, swimming, darts, pool and table tennis. For awesome service and advice, still locally owned and operated, the all-new Intersport Concept Store. Now open at Casuarina Square.
Boys, we've got a real big problem. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody. I'm talking about family violence. It's time we said no more to family violence, isn't it? Yeah. Think about it.
We've all got to say no more to family violence.
No more!
Family violence is a community problem and it needs a community response from all of us, and sport is a big part of that. But we can all do our bit by being more respectful to each other. Please make this year the year we say no more to family violence.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium, and I tell you what, we are in for a cracking fourth quarter here with the Darwin Buffaloes and St Mary's tied at 6-6-42 at three-quarter time. And gentlemen, well, we're about to see the replay of a very controversial goal in that third quarter.
Yeah, I think it looked to be clearly touched by Cammy Stokes right there off his boot. The ball sort of jerks off to the left there. The umpire's in a very good position, but at the end of the day, it's in the book now. But Cammy's a very honest character. He's adamant that he touched that footy. So, Rob Cross, proud Buffalo man, what was your call on that one?
Well, it certainly looked like it came off the boot. It may have skidded, hit it, bounce, and looked like a leg break. Jackson Calder, you might have seen him put up his left arm he thought it was a goal, but as you say, unusual for Cameron Stokes to be so definite that he touched it by boot. And it would appear that it might have been a goal awarded in error, which would make the margin 5 points to the Buffs now instead of a margin of equal, I should say, 42 apiece. As the St Mary's go forward inside attacking 50, sock it off the ground dangerously. He's called her again. Well, almost got rid of Flay. Flay just held his ground and it goes out of bounds in the left forward pocket.
Very dangerous is Calder this last quarter and a half. He's got busy, as have some of his teammates in the forward line. So going to be an interesting end to this game.
Pendlebury in ruck up against Waite. Good strength by Pendlebury. Held Waite off. Geary has been relatively quiet and gives St Mary's the lead by a point, not a goal, with his quick snap. Saints 6-7, Buff 6-6. 45 seconds gone. Final quarter.
Is that the first time for the game they've hit the front? Crossy, I think it is.
I think it might be, yeah.
Yeah. They score the first behind of the afternoon, perhaps. Picked up by Armat. As far as Jordan, though, playing his first game of NTFL footy, from the Eastern Footy League in Melbourne, plays for Norwood. Also a famous club in South Australia, of course. Out comes Calder again. Doing his best Jackson Trengove impersonation. Couldn't complete the mark. Palmer slides to ground and slaps it along. And Edwards called for a free kick for a throw and gets it. Sean Edwards has been at 3 AFL clubs, sporting a slightly new look from what we're used to. Kicks in the weight direction from AFL player to AFL player. Calder again lays a strong tackle on Eldridge. And it goes out of bounds. Nice bit of sportsmanship by Nick Yarran to help Eldridge up from the right forward pocket. Airport end. It's all St Mary's.
It's a clear visual difference in their intensity and their effort at the moment. St Mary's, they've got plenty of numbers at every contest and they're working a lot harder than what the Buffaloes are.
What have the Buffs got left in the tank? Flay, Calder, Kelly, kick smothered to centre half forward, charging onto it, Braxton Armat, quick kick was lucky to Jordan. Campbell laid the tackle, but the numbers are with St Mary's. He plays on pretty quickly, thumps long and kicks the goal. Pumps his fist to the Saints fans in the grandstand, and St Mary's have squeezed out to a 7-point lead. 2.5 minutes gone, final quarter, 7-7 to 6-6.
He's been a very good find for St Mary's, hasn't he, boys? He's been one of their better players all day. You can see here, Buff's just under a lot of pressure rushing. St Mary's just seem to be composed and using the ball a lot better. We mentioned it early on in the game that they were chipping, using those small passes. They've maintained that all day, and it's got them back into the game. Buffs just have dropped off here. They need some changes. Maybe it's Coach Matt Campbell through the middle or something a little bit different, but looks like they're going back into the midfield exactly the same as the way they started this quarter.
See, one of those players that Ricky Nolan sitting poolside with the new swimming attire might have pinpointed for St Mary's some time ago?
Potentially, yeah. Yep.
St Mary's go forward again. Parry on the bounce. Salmon. Rioli back to Salmon. Oh, clever play. Now that's aerial ping pong at its finest. Geary hands it to Waite. Over the top to Calder. What brilliant play by St Mary's. Tap, 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 goal. Brilliant play. It barely hit the deck, and the ball was kept alive as if they were playing volleyball at the Tokyo Olympics next year. Superb play by the Saints, and all of a sudden the game is in there, keeping a 13-point lead.
Equally as classy call, Rob Cross. That was, you could make a game of chess sound exciting the way you commentate. That was outstanding, and outstanding from the St Mary's Footy Club. A lot of young talent there, just kept the ball going forward. They're playing some very, very smart footy at the moment. Buffs need a change here. They need to lift their intensity and they need to get the next goal. It's very, very important to get this next clearance.
There just seems to be no answers from the Buffs at the moment. It just keeps going Saints' way.
Not sure where it's going to come from. The big name Saints players are coming to the fore. Don't know that the Buffs have got the answers. Jordan de Geary again. They go forward. Out comes Calder. He's third man up. Drops the mark. Salmon deserves a goal. Gives to Yarran. Quick snap. Oh, St Mary's almost had another one. Just misses to the left. 8-8 plays 6-6. The margin is 14 points.
Interesting observation, guys, that last two centre square bounces, Buffs haven't had their best players in there. Bowles, Stokes, Lang, all of them outside of the centre square bounce, sitting forward. So there's something amiss there at the moment. Not too sure what the messages are, but they need to get their better players and their ball winners around the footy as soon as possible.
Cameron Stokes to do the kicking in. Pendlebury offered a short lead. Michael Coombs for a while, Hodgie. Be off injured. Stafford, good by Miles. Lang missed it. Eldridge, they're running on if he can get to. Brilliant smother by Salmon. Threw himself out across Eldridge's boot. Armat slipped to the ground but then slapped it forward towards Waite. Maroney, Salmon bearing down quickly. Back to Sean Armat. Oh, brilliant tackle by Waite this time, holding the footy. The intensity is up from St Mary's. This is finals footy. This is a team that wants to get back into grand final territory as Brad Stokes arrived late, knocked it out of the hands there of Yarran, but Yarran will shoot for goal from 45.
They've got some players missing too, Saints.
Shannon Rioli receives and thumps long from 50 away to the right, missing some chances, keeping the Buffs in at just 15 points the lead.
Amazing work, Joseph Salmon. We talked about him last quarter, but that pressure in front of us right here was fantastic. It's definitely match-winning efforts.
Throw Nate Paredes back in, Hodgie. You throw maybe Armitage if they've got him in their thoughts. Raf Clark, Ish Palmer, Stafford, Stafford forced to play across half-back. Lovely weighted kick to Lang. Lang wanted to play on quickly. He's got McKenzie in the middle. Wasn't a kind bounce. Coming at him there was Miller. Came to Williams. Wrapped up by Jacob Long. Throws it out. Lucky to get away with it. Seaton Kurnoth. The yellow jumpers are everywhere. Brilliant intensity by St Mary's. Back to their form of a few years ago. Wooden spooners last year, but they are smarting from that.
They are just desperate to help each other out, aren't they? They're at every contest. They're outnumbering. They're getting off their own opponents to go and help a teammate, not leaving anyone isolated. It's really good to watch.
First-year coach Anthony Villaggio will be thrilled by this. Bradley Stokes get knocked off the footy. Geary, we haven't seen much of him, but he's really come to life in this last quarter. Bowles to Bowles is at half forward, I should say. A lucky little bounce there. He might have tapped it cleverly into the path of Chris Williams. Must kick this, Williams. Sets sail and misses to the right. Behind only, the margin back to 14 points St Mary's way. 7 gone last quarter.
You know, Michael Longend has not been friendly for accuracy today.
Tom Davies looking out the Morris Rioli grandstand side, and that's where he'll come. Lang takes the mark though, a little awkwardly. Rid of Jordan, the Port Melbourne star in the VFL. Goes short, and poor marking by St Mary's. Unlike them, particularly in this last quarter, they've been all over the Buffs. And Jared Stokes has taken the grab. He's probably just got the legs, Hodgie. He'll run away around to the right, I reckon, and hook it in.
It was interesting to look at. I think it was at half time. It looked like he was doing a bit of a fitness test, maybe a calf or something like that, but he definitely got the carry in him. He's definitely a classy player, and he can kick this.
So he'll run to 50. Kicks, don't quite have the carry on this occasion. Almost Stafford at the back of the pack, could have taken a chest mark, but he missed it, and it's through for another behind. But the Buffs have just stemmed the flow a little bit.
That's a good pitching wedge to that. President's Cup weekend. Just got under that one and kicked a bit high.
Anthony Long, thumping ball. Lovely mark by Geary. He's having a blinder in this last quarter. Nice one grab mark. That left half back on the outer side. Kicks down the wing. Calder from behind. In front, Flay. Seaton Kurnoth. Bowles. Comes to Cameron Stokes. In the Jared Stokes direction. Wrestling with Anthony Long. Tyler Saunders wanted the boundary with a big fist and gets it.
The Buffs crowd calling for deliberate there.
Lights blazing away here at Marara. Dull day. Big storm about 1 o'clock local time. For about an hour or so. Quite heavy rain. A lot of surface water on the ground, which is drained away throughout the afternoon. Temperature picking up. Thrown in, Braxton Armat up against Lachlan McKenzie. Haven't seen those two battle all that often. Second or third string ruckman. Jared Stokes in front was clever. Tap to his own advantage. Cut his way back through traffic. Still in control. Gave to Kieran Campbell. Out to Ish Palmer. His handball back to Lachlan McKenzie. Sends it in towards the forward pocket. Jalen Clark is there. Oh, and so Stafford, second, third attempt, knocked out of his grasp. Came to Yaron. He pokes a kick almost Gaelic footy style to his own advantage. Coming hugely, powerfully the other way was Eldridge. Maroney around on the left boot, but it's all St Mary's. Davies drops the mark. He tries to maybe tap it down to a teammate. Kieran Campbell comes in and lays the tackle. Still goes Davies. Poking along in front there was Bradley Stokes, not quite to his own advantage. And now Shannon Rioli gives it off to Miller. Kick was chopped down. Stokes must kick this goal. He hits the post. They had their chance. They were throwing themselves willingly into the contest, but couldn't quite come up with a 6-pointer. And the margin is 13 points.
Intensity is definitely lifted from the Darwin Buffaloes. Bowles, Lang, these players are starting to get more involved, which is exactly what they need.
Long kicks it out from fullback. Some holding going on. And it's going to go against Yaron. It's going to go to Shannon Lang. 60 out from goal. Pokes in the Stafford direction. Was able to get away from Davies, but the kick wasn't good. It was a bit too tall. Beautiful pick up by Williams into Jalen Clark. Well tackled by Anthony Long. Thrown to the ground. Tyler Saunders there. And another strong tackle there. It was Braith Hodges was taken in the tackle. Right, Hodges? Yeah, it was. And Tyler Saunders comes up with it, but will have a boundary throw in.
Saints players working hard there to try and get that ball out of bounds. They've got what they wanted now. They just need numbers around the contest. Get it, set it back up, one-on-one. Buffs in the prime seat here to try and score from this opportunity. Clever plays around the ball. the two Campbells, and Stokes is there as well.
Stafford and Smith in ruck. Smith wins it, wants the boundary line. Jacob Long, Jalen Clark, 4 yellow jumpers around him. He burrows his way through, at least attempted to, but got nowhere. And the umpire will say, holding the footy. Jalen doesn't like it. And Braith Hodges wins the free kick in the right back pocket in front of the Michael Long centre. So Hodges' kick is good up towards the half-back flank. Smith in from the side, Pendlebury. Oh, huge tackle by Braxton Ahmat. And that was on Shannon Lang. Wow, I don't know if you get too many of those in the VFL even. As Salmon socks off the ground in the Calder direction. Flay and Calder. Coming back to lend assistance is Eldridge. Flay wants the boundary line and wins it, but that's a pretty good result. What a huge fly back on the wing.
I reckon that's a win for St Mary's there. Crossy, obviously, Buffs had numbers streaming back. He had Eldridge on the inside, did Flay. Didn't realise he was there. It was 2-on-1, so good call here. Smith smacked him right in the head.
Bang!
That is a great tackle. Young guy.
Wait. Calder. Clever hands to Geary from the boundary line. How slick was that? Over the head of Jordan. Seaton Kurnoth grabbed it under a lot of pressure and just hacks it out towards the boundary line. Kieran Parnell will get there first. Palmer comes at him. Good pace by Parnell and kicks in towards the pocket. And Geary again. And a brilliant spoil coming in from the side from Cameron Stokes. Sees it out of bounds. Gee, we're seeing some intense footy in this last quarter. Big tackles, big spoils. All the 1%ers we love Aussie rules footy for.
Fair bit on the line here, guys, for the ladder position as well, going into the second part of the season. Obviously, the boys have got a 2 to 3 week break after this, so laying everything out on the line.
12 points the margin. St Mary's lead. At quarter time, we might remind you they trail by 21 points. Sean Edwards hacks it across the face of goal. Moroney first to it. The dangerous Shannon Rioli with him. He won't go to ground, or he does eventually. Handball over his head, wanting Sean Edwards again. Blue jumpers around the footy. Nabi Kelly kicks towards the boundary line. Smith wants it deliberate. I'd be surprised if he got it. And they'll have a boundary throw in between wing and half forward. St Mary's just into attack.
We've seen Smith at some of these boundary throw-ins just hack the ball forward. He's probably done it a few times today, and his teammates haven't been on the same page, and there's been Buff players waiting for it. Probably just needs to keep it in tight here. He's got some clever players in around the ball. Geary, Jordan's there as well.
Smith in ruck up against Devon Lyons. Smith, good strength. Cruel bounce for Salmon. Just laid enough of a tackle to slow Eldridge up momentarily. Coombs back on. His kick up towards half forward. In front was Davies, in front of Stafford.
He's probably the better of Stafford since halfway through that first quarter, as Tom Davies.
Stafford still been able to kick 3 and missed a sitter. Won't be a long quarter again. Just the 2 goals this quarter, both to St Mary's. In fact, the Buffs have only kicked 2 goals since quarter time. Bowles. Good Shepherd came from Bradley Stokes. Miller came in to lay the tackle. Running back of the flight was Nabi Kelly. Well done by Anthony Long to come courageously the other way and then tap it along to his teammate in Parnell. Brilliantly played by St Mary's. Off they go. Hodges gave to Geary. Geary's kick inside 50, wanting parry. Spoiled again by Stokes, but inside attacking 50. Lopes after it his weight. And he toes it towards the boundary line in front of Ryan Pendlebury. And it'll be a boundary throw-in.
It's like Salmon's on the boundary line with a bit of trouble at the moment. Might be just a cramp, I think, but he's worked his backside off all game. He's been outstanding for them, but really well done, St Mary's there. Long got across, killed that footy, and just get the ball moving forward. Stoppage in their forward line. Good win for St Mary's.
Someone might be smoked. Thrown in, forward pocket. Pendlebury, Geary couldn't control the footy. A rare fumble in this last quarter. Whistle blows, a trip, going St Mary's way again, going to Geary.
Red Cross waiting for that gag all day.
He's been a pretty good catch though, hasn't he?
Boom, boom, boom.
So Geary's got the leg, Hodgie.
Look, he's been outstanding. He had a little bit of time on the bench in the third quarter, so I'd say he's got reasonably fresh legs. He started this quarter outstanding.
He's been the player of the last quarter.
He has. He's ran really hard, and he's been the change for St Mary's. He's definitely got the distance in his legs.
Almost the match sealer, I reckon, if he kicks it. He'll kick from 51. Right to the teeth of goal. Calder got his hands to it, and, well, on any other day, I reckon he would have taken that mark. And just a little bit of nudge there with Michael Coombs, a good measure at the end. As Cameron Stokes pokes into the back pocket and finds Kevin Moroney. He timed his leap beautifully, did Calder, just couldn't clunk the mark. Pendlebury outside defensive 50. No time, they've got to move it. It won't be a long quarter. 16 minutes gone, final term. The last quarter, I think, only went about 21 minutes, if that. So you'd think there's about 5 minutes to play. Anthony Long comes in and takes a strong mark. Where can Buffs get back into the game? They had a chance a few minutes ago, didn't capitalise. High kick from Long. Waite holds himself off the footy. Comes to Cheek, about to be tackled. Sort of holding the footy. Someone in the crowd wanted it. Comes back to Cheek. Quick snap on goal. And it's coming back for a free kick to the Buffs in the right back pocket. After all that,
didn't see what happened there, but
Waite's the one on the mark arguing. So Kevin Moroney. Again, there's just nothing moving for them. It's one-on-one. Saints in control. Williams front spot. Had the ball spoiled away. Parry diving after it. Lachlan McKenzie. Cheek there's getting busy in the last quarter. He's had a good game, to be fair, all the way through. Williams taken down by Anthony Long and holding the footy. And some further remonstration going on. Cheek there and Jalen Clark. And it's going to be turned over. So Jalen Clark, well, if ever there's a player with a bit of cheek, not by name but by nature, it's Jalen Clark up against Josh Cheek. Braith Hodges has to ride a tackle from Kieran Campbell. And there's no chance of getting rid of it, so holding the footy, despite the protestations of that member of the crowd.
I think they're going to have a bit of a sore voice on Monday.
I think we're sitting right next to the Buffaloes corporate box here. They're pretty vocal.
Big Buffalo supporter Nick O'Reilly part of that. There's going to be a free kick going to Jack Geary.
Bit of an awkward situation for Nicky. He's sitting in there with the Buffalo supporters. I do hear that he's a closet St Mary supporter.
Geary, beautiful kick this time. That would have been a goal if he laid his boot into it when he had that shot a few minutes ago. Nice mark taken by Ryan Smith. It's all St Mary's. Where's Waite from behind? Oh, through his fingertips. Calder gathers the footy. Can't shrug the flayed tackle. Well done by Waite, tapping it along in front of himself. Only as far there as Pendlebury, though. Comes to Sean Armat. Handball missed its target in Patrick Bowles. Bowles comes up with a footy, but he's kicked it out of bounds on the full. And St Mary's can reload from left half forward.
Yeah, just really good pressure from the St Mary's forwards, midfielders, all working for each other, putting plenty of pressure on. Buffs trying really hard to get the ball forward. They just can't. Nothing's working for them. I've just seen, I think Sean Edwards, who's played on the wing and mainly forward this game, put himself behind the footy there for a minute or so, just to steady the ship.
Cheek in towards the pocket. Waite up there, but well done by Waite. Got rid of Pendlebury, allowing Calder to run off Flay and run into a chest mark in the left forward pocket just 20 metres out.
The synergy between Calder and Waite's been impressive today, hasn't it? They very, very rarely go and spoil each other in a contest. They share whose turn it is to go up for the ball, and they'll shepherd for each other, and we saw Waite do it just there perfectly for Calder.
To extend the margin to 19 points. We saw him in the first quarter have, I think, the first shot on goal from the other end of the ground in the right forward pocket. This is from the left forward pocket at the airport end. Has he got the swing on the kick? No, he hasn't. It's through for a behind again. So the Buffs may be a chance. Will not be a long quarter. We're almost at the 20-minute mark. The margin is 14 points. They've got to kick 3 goals, I reckon, in about 90 seconds. Can't see it happening. St Mary's deserve this win. They trail by 21 points at quarter time, but it's been all St Mary's in the last quarter in particular. And a pretty good third term as well. As McKenzie about to be crunched by Anthony Long, held his ground, sidestep, well tackled by Geary towards the boundary line, and it's going to be a Geary free kick. McKenzie hung on to it for too long. Too many yellow jumpers around him. And Geary, best on ground in this last 20 minutes. He's been wonderful. Wins another kick. He'll just set it up in towards the pocket. Rioli front spot. Tried to hold off Pendlebury. Comes to Waite. He grabbed it and then went out of bounds.
Geary's been outstanding. Good news, boys. Salmon isn't so smoked. He's back out on the ground.
They've thrown him back into the water, you could say.
Swimming back upstream. Right forward pocket. Game almost over. Wonderful performance by St Mary's to hold on to second spot on the ladder, and with a couple of big name players to come back, and you'd think they are the rightful challengers to Nightcliff. Miles did pretty well. Gave it off there to Shannon Lang, who's been okay, but a player of his standard from the VFL, you might have expected a little bit more. Through the hands there of Kieran Parnell. Comes off to Stokes. A throw has been paid. Advantage. Not sure it was much of an advantage. Williams about to be grabbed from behind by Jacob Long. Kicks towards the wing. Geary couldn't complete the mark. Comes to Bowles. Gets around Smith. He's still going as Bowles. Kicks in the Kieran Campbell direction. Braith Hodges running strongly back in towards the back pocket. Wants the boundary line. Good defensive play by Hodges. Sees it out of bounds. Well played against the dangerous Kieran Campbell. Left forward pocket for the Buffs. 21 minutes gone last quarter. St Mary's lead by 14 points. And there it is, the final siren. St Mary's, after the wooden spoon last year, are right back up at the top of the NTFL tree thanks to their first-year coach Anthony Vallejo and a few stars out there as well. At full time, it's the Saints 8-11-59 to the Buffs 6-9-45. They look the real deal, Andrew Hodges.
Yeah, they are. They've with some really good players missing as well. As you said, Armitage, Clark, and a few others. So really good performance. The young guys stood up. The senior guys, they just got maximum effort out of them. Geary, Wade, Calder, Long down back. Anthony Long, he was fantastic. So that's some really good contributors. On the flip side, Buffs, you know, probably didn't have as many an even spread of contributors. I think Saints pretty much didn't have any passengers over the course of the day, but Pendlebury was outstanding down back as well as Stokes, and Bowles and Lang, you know, for his first game showed a fair bit. Narbs Kelly sort of came in and out of the game, so they got plenty to work with. But Saints, yeah, going into the Christmas break and sitting, what are they, sitting second, third?
Yeah, second on the ladder, yeah, and they'll hold that. And so, I think, was it okay off there, Hodgie? I reckon they'll be the challengers to Nightcliff, as you touched on there, Rob, because like Nightcliff last week, every player at Saints just knew their role really well. Hodgie, you touched on it a few times as well, that whenever they were in trouble, they'd come in, they'd really help each other. Absolutely loved Joseph Salmon. I thought he was absolutely spectacular. Up the back there, Jacob Long really helped them out. For the Buffs, Stafford had moments there whenever they could get it up in their forward. He was really exciting. But yeah, I think coming into the Christmas break, I think it's certainly going to be very exciting to watch Saints and Nightcliff again come 2020. There it is, full time here at TIO Stadium, 6-9-45 Darwin Buffaloes against St Mary's 8-11-59. On behalf of the team here at Aboriginal TV Channel 4, have a safe and Merry Christmas, and we'll see you for plenty of footy action again in 2020.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Absolutely zero.
Zero.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be zero.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's asking too much.
kilonewton centrifugal force, infrared remote control.
How does he do it?
24.5 kilowatt diesel motor.
He doesn't just know how to operate every piece of Kennard's hire gear we get in, but also its service details, its safety checks. I know.
It's as if he can hypnotise each piece. Give me 2 passes with sauce, coffee white with 1 bun with icing, no pink icing.
Yep, no worries, Terry.
Kennard's making job easy.
Time to escape, cause I'm in need of warmer weather. Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better. And I'm going far and wide. Ooh.
Great Northern Brewing Co., the beer from up here.
Boys, we've got a real big problem. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody. I'm talking about family violence. It's time we said no more to family violence, isn't it? Yeah. Think about it.
We've all got to say no more to family violence.
No more!
Family violence is a community problem and it needs a community response from all of us, and sport is a big part of that. But we can all do our bit by being more respectful to each other. Please make this year the year we say no more to family violence.
Looking for the best and brightest to join your team? At Quality People, we specialise in finding quality, hard-to-get professionals, and we have an office right here in Darwin. Kick your recruitment goals with Quality People. qualitypeople.com.au.
Now that's quality.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
On Territory roads, anything can happen, so you need to drive to the conditions. Speeding can get you into all sorts of trouble. Dirt roads aren't just dusty. When it's hard to see, they're dangerous. At water crossings, remember, you're driving a motor car, not a boat. High water can be deep trouble.
Choosing a health fund can be tricky. Some are too big, too small, or just not right at all. But with Territory Health Fund, you can make sure your cover is the right fit.